Hello, good morning. This is Joy News, your most reliable news channel. We are crossing right about now to Takoradi, where families of 3 girls whose remains were found or established by police to be that of those who were murdered by Nigerians are holding a press conference. So let's cross over for details.
Whether positive or negative. Now that you have mentioned this, are you doing the right thing? There is no iota of truth of what they have said. There's nothing, and you are not going to believe it. We are not going to believe it. And this is done. This is all that can be done in Ghana. You can't do this in any country. You can't do it in any country. I go. I am said in some Americans, me pay you for me.
Your best one.
IGP. On any doctors, one more promise here said. One more promise here said. One more NDA now. DNA now. One more baba. Abe frere. Ama yenina ya trance. Now one more actually procedure now. One more yenya negative. Or procedure now one more yenya positive. One more belay the skeleton. Pressure. Root. Another root. Pressure. No matter the 9 waha, the sa waha, the trini, you say, one billion. No more. I convince said this very things on it. She says, yeah, your channel. Your channel. Promise for the man, into the Maya who come here, DNA. One man can't tell us, or bad nounce. Ya Amam say, ya nanso, sir, and someone anajo. Anajo, ya nanso, sir. By 7 o'clock, at the center, oh my. IGP said, "One who pays for me, Obia my home, my name is Irena Maya, Tifia, Obia my home. It is almost as a woman by her, Yanuka, Obia my home. Say, and Yamini on my Omocasa, Joy News. Okay, you never said the master of Koso. It is Yana Yawaha, IGP should come again. Idea now, I can say they want to close the docket, but I am telling them through the media that the docket is not closed. It's still open because that's where we are. That's just a docket in the now the docket is still open. How they found that our victims are those people that they have found us. We are going down there to see. Yada must be there for Yada must be Yamishiramu. Yamishiramu. Ago. Kakra me peda me kan yede. FM in Moscow jo obiteria. Oye root no for him. Na asamle ba no sabe. Asamle yede yako police ward. From day 1, I yako police ward 1 January bepe menne. Ghana Police Service when ye ndi ni ye. And na adana akoshi. Na adeba ko ham pa one day in there. Na me yimi there sana Ghana your president. I have Nanado. Any day Nanado obe kroma obedu kroma no awofo a won ma abusan nan a won ma asen what the man atoo ma awofo wodi ebobu otedam Nanado twemu fia okodu azim asa Nanado baka chen there case no wonder wo ho wonder kra no we dey do djuma na sen obo kushonda meye bian monya busanda ni na behia monya waye den aye hwehwemu na sende monya matrasa nka bibiala na 713 anajofa police for by yado to say obi aye Roberts wokitekitetu wobotwa yada ho hia na obaka chen there test na waye no mafraba no aye womu no we wu a na yin aban yadwen yi police yadwen na nadu afred on ye bakasa sabi obuo wo mi na yin de ye mampani atuma ma ya naidu atu embe busa nan na nne ebe fra ye phone do den ye be di komo na che yan ka so ye enti na nadu ye yin ka sanda ye yin ka sa china just na waya no so ye jintum esa ye wu dompe ye wu oyipe bi aniti ye wu obi nefi ye wu obi ne nai that's on back chair there just na moya na mo faba na ye mo ya ti ye jit mo ye enti dia be na mai ina gusere ina ya se ye jintum se na nadu na na police fu na no do mo one kwa was back as a for chire asa ni ajatum so until the media 2020 na be yalo you what you want for enya MP no batu aban enya minister no batu aban Nandadu be ja ka chen de ya mo fo we wu we ye batu you want for na ma won ye batu ntama chire
I don't know what you want to say. Abo! You don't want to say. One boy hand was a water in here. You don't want to say. Never ya kind there. The unpainful yano. 128. 128. 128. Listen to that. One fast some day, one found about money. So I'm a quan my wabaha. No words I walk when itching. Now I can't a mambana asha. 128. Now a cooler or cherry in there. One more waffle and kakala tafon. Why you kidnap us in Casa? When you want in Casa. Because in Payfaka someday you go on Chuma or some guampim. Yanan Traho, Yaya Mimian China Yimikaso. On them day they did my empire in front. What are some about 6 young there? Young paying for what are some Nimana? What can I share? I had them ready to tell some. There is that. Obertime, I had like an outmodel. And the Kakam woman kind there. I'm paying and paying fun. So what is it? 128. 128. 128. Madam, when I say, one boy, boy, hand.
No. You don't want to ask a pan and boy without boy here. You don't want to see baby, you mean someone. And my summer poor mobile kind day. One may a test, what can I? What about Frahen? No, I didn't that hand. One band up 7:30, no, Bessie Henry. They am boo. I'm a mean you or Sunday 13th March. I'm not catching me there. I want to from one word this car. It's Mamma can't show you. Me 13th March, na tiwa kada masa metremo. That man can't show any happen chapel around 9 o'clock. And if and as man can't show biala. And April so be a press conference there. And you may be a woman war. And you may be a woman war. 13th March or a March. March and Sunday April no back down you may be a woman war. Na Sunday back at why don't pia. What catches some race see how for what to so scale war. What catches some race was so this guy. You be said no quite in the catcher there. Sikaka Krabi. And I was fine. No one win him Sikaka. I want to warfare more Krabi. I want to win him. And to make out someone that you're doing to me that now you have to match now. And then you even maybe I was catching a second. Some race all going to get them you cry. Why can't you go to across war, baby? What's the problem the war? And you want to be the Wabasa. Let me make for Bella walk at the town one. I didn't know about it. Walk on your Usuho, or being a bulla where to walk on your war. And the scholar was so if you know. What can I come on? No, you can offer your man blahen. Nine, man, your child. Police station. Now, what's young call? What's the 1 year into 1 year? My son, you call a case. Wafenda court ne yankaje court order brand sana why yeah let me be said there say penyin bi ne ba nkadama asam baka wada kyerɛ na the police pen
Please be patient. Where is the mic? We want to interview someone. This gentleman.
Papa suffer na ne driver. Walu to can wako sa Nigeria sa yin from woko amedi minim. Ba wase wo hu car bia na ebi sinem wo a all go to petrol. Us what's been in the help. Ena papa suffer nke de olko sanchi wa banti. According to the driver, no, they joy TVK no. I say, I watch no no ebesiaba. Na you go from catch any day or you wonu nia. Where you when your problem into what they don't come when come. What?
So you heard families of the 4 girls in Takoradi who we now know through a police press conference yesterday were murdered by their Nigerian captors. As you know, the IGP addressed a news conference yesterday and he said that the DNA test established that indeed the remains of the girls which were taken from the cesspit or the septic tank in Takoradi, Kansawardo to be specific, were those of the girls who had been missing for more than a year. We can cross over back to Takoradi. My colleague Kojo Yankson is on standby. He's been monitoring that press conference by the families. Kojo, take us through what the families have been saying. Essentially, they don't agree with the DNA results, but essentially, what more have they been saying?
Well, they've been speaking mainly in Akan. But the message is clear. They do not trust the word of the police. They do not believe that these remains belong to their family members. And they insist that they want to do their own DNA test before they are satisfied that indeed their loved ones are the ones who were found in the septic tank and the well. Now, what they are saying is that there are several reasons why they don't believe in the accounts of the police. They say that Madam Tiwa, who is the CID boss, spoke to the mother of Ruth Lovequason personally and said to her that they know exactly where the girls are by the grace of God and that the kidnappers are demanding large sums of money. And so they need the family members to be quiet, not to speak to the press, so that the kidnappers are not agitated to the point where they will harm the girls. This is what, according to Ruth Lovequason's mother, the CID boss said. And for that reason, they cannot reconcile that with the discovery of bones just in a matter of weeks after the CID boss said this to them over the phone. They are also very unhappy with the way in which the news was broken to them. I have actually been speaking to the grandfather of the first victim, Ruth Abeka. Now, her grandfather tells us that up till now, nobody from the police has been to them to officially inform them of the findings of the DNA test. Nobody has been to their home. They found out about it last night on Joy News when they were watching TV. So they are very unhappy with the way the information has been communicated. We are also learning that the Quaysons refused to speak to the president when he called them on the phone to commiserate with them following the press conference. But they are not the only ones reacting. Here in Diabini, members of the community are furious. Some of them are threatening violence against Nigerians in the community. I want to speak to one of them and find out why that is their proposed way forward. Tell us your name.
My name is Owusu.
Owusu, I heard you earlier talking about what you want to do to Nigerians. Tell me again, what do you want to do?
You see, not necessarily what you want to do to Nigerians, but we just want to send a question to the so-called leaders of this country. You see, it's unfortunate that such incident happens to a family member of us, and it's like every day on, it's like people are telling us stories. It's unfortunate, but that's what we the youth here are saying is that, you see, when an issue happened to people at South Africa, we know how Nigerian people reacted. We were in this country, and a lecturer of Nigeria came to this country and said that you see, the Nigerian people should deframe Ghanaians, because they shouldn't have to picture Ghanaians as a good people. They should also picture Ghanaians as a bad people. You see, a lecturer of his is speaking, say, to a country of like Ghana. All what we are trying to tell the public that, you see, not that we can react to other Nigerians who are in this country. As I'm saying, we know where they are staying. We know where most of them are working. Most of them are also our friends. You see, we can also do the same thing to them. But because Ghana is a peaceful country, because of that, it's like nobody wants to trying to do something bad to defame the country. But all what we are trying to tell them that we can also do the same thing. So we beg them.
Is that a threat that you're making, that if if the police don't do what you want, you will attack Nigerians?
We see, it's not that a threat, it's a caution. We are not threatening them, it's a caution that they should react to this issue very well, because we can also do the same thing. We can also do the same thing. It will be unfair to Ghanaians. Are you not citizens of this country? We are in this country. Where we are speaking now, that is where His Excellency Nana Dudanka came here to campaign on behalf of Dogate. What has the Honorable has been doing for this community? When we came, you saw our road. All these issues are there. We don't have even good water to drink. And this issue has just come on board. It's unfortunate. We, the youth here, we are just cautioning the leaders of this country that we can also do the same thing to the Nigerian people. We can also do the same thing. They are not humans more than us. They have blood in their skin, and we can also do the same thing. This is what we are trying to tell them.
But you know it would be a crime to do that, don't you?
Sorry?
You know it would be a crime to attack innocent people.
We know. That's what I'm saying. We are not going to attack them. What I'm trying to say is that we are sending a caution to them that we can also do the same thing. You see, we can also do the same thing. So if I do, the question that you're asking me, if I act in that way, I know it will not be nice to the Nigerian people. And I know that in this country, when you are Ghanaian, you do something sort of that. It is you that Ghana police will come attack you. Because they don't value we Ghanaians. They don't value us. We can also do the same thing. We can also do the same thing. And Nigerian people better than us. And I'm not sure they are better than us.
There are many others in the community who have very strong feelings about what is happening. Let's speak to a few more of them. Tell us your name.
Yeah, I'm Enoch Opomipra.
So Enoch, tell me, how has this press conference struck you? What are your thoughts?
Honestly speaking, I stay closer to one of the victims' family, and I must confess that they are not having it easy at all. The mother in question, from time to time, we've been realizing that she is reducing in weight, and once in a while she will fall unconscious and she'll be taken to hospital. I am a teacher in a secondary school, and I have some of the students from this community who comes to where I teach. And there are times at 5 p.m., parents will be calling my line just to find out whether we have closed, because by then their kids have not come back from school. And you realize that they are doing all those because of the tension that is engulfing this community. It's becoming a problem for most of the parents to send their wards to schools that are far away from this community. It's a big problem, and I think this press conference is in line with what they are feeling. In fact, they are pouring out their heart because we've been watching this in movies. Even in movies, how the kids are treated. You can imagine, and if it's not a movie and it's real, you can imagine what the parents are going through. And we, the youth and concerned members of this community, we want to also send this caution to the leaders of the country at large and the Nigerians at large. If it's better, I will advise that most of the Nigerians who stays around this vicinity are relocated to other parts of this country.
Why?
The reason being that the kind of pain and anguish or the agony that the youth here are going through, and then the kind of anger with which they speak, I would not be surprised that any moment from now they might retaliate. They were just waiting for a confirmation that it's true that the children were actually dead, and now it's confirmed. And so when we come down here to play football and stuff, you hear comments of retaliation. So I'll be glad if we get our leaders to take out the Nigerians from this vicinity, maybe to a different region, or either they are asked to, because they will not publicly come and call you, but something might happen behind the scene. And
now you are a teacher. You're an opinion leader in the community. What are you doing about these xenophobic sentiments that are coming up?
You see, we are living in a community where I would like to say this. People are of homogeneous character. Majority are from the same families, or they all grew up in the hand. We are not from different. I am from a different place. I came to join, but I want you to understand that it is not easy convincing people of this nature. The reason being that they do things like a mob, okay, and you can't just gather them and convince them like no. You can give one or two individual education to them, but honestly speaking, in fact, one of the best measures is to, if anything, convince the Nigerians around to relocate.
Well, Araba, this is a sentiment that we've heard more than once. It appears that now that the police are giving confirmation that the kidnapped girls are now dead girls, the community is baying for blood in the worst possible way. There is a real fear that innocent people might be caught in any residual violence that might be generated as a result of the recent announcement from the police that the 4 Takoradi girls are indeed dead.
Kojo, let's stay with the police because as you indicated, some of the family members say that they were not officially notified about the outcome of the DNA test until last night. Some of them even heard it on Joy News. But we do also understand that as at last night, when the press conference was happening, there was a police contingent at one of the family members' house. How true is this?
Yes, that's the family of Ruth Love Quayson, who is the 3rd victim. They live just up the hill from here. They are members of this community. Now, in the middle of the night, while the press conference was going on, a group of police officers, heavily armed, came to their home. And they were in the company of the psychological counselors and a pastor, who are all designated to provide counseling services to the families of the taken girls. Now, this group of police officers, some of them heavily armed, came to break the news that in fact the DNA test results are in, and that the remains are actually the remains of the girls, including Ruth Love Quayson. Now, the family members were asking them lots of questions because a lot of it did not add up for them. And the more questions they asked, the more agitated this contingent became, according to the family. And at a point, told they simply walked out, saying that the president will call the family, and so the family can put any questions they have to the president. The president did indeed call, according to the family members, and they refused to speak to him, saying that they were busy because they felt the president had slighted them by coming through the western region to Axim without stopping to see them, speak to them, commiserate with them at the time that their girls were missing. And so they feel that at this time that the police are saying that the girls are dead, this is perhaps the worst time for the president to be calling to commiserate with them. They also point to our cultural norms. And indeed, in many Ghanaian societies, it is wrong to go and inform a family of a funeral at night. There is a reason for this. Back in the day, healthcare services were not available around the clock. And so the idea was that if you're going to give traumatic news, give it at a time when, if anybody suffers any ill results or ill effects of the bad news, they can be taken to a hospital. And for that reason, you do not impart bad news at night. So they feel that the police and the president have both violated one of our most bad news. These are all reasons why the Quayson family are very unhappy with the way in which this matter has been communicated. And of course, as you mentioned, there is one family that have not even yet had a visit from the police. As far as they are aware, there is no news yet officially about the DNA results.
Right, Kojo. So clearly, the family is in pain. The residents are, angry, and the whole community is up in arms. As you said, they are baying for blood, and the threat of reprisals is real. But is there police presence in the area on the ground, especially seeing as a lot of people want to take it out on the Nigerians?
Well, Araba, why don't I walk you around really quickly? The press conference happened here at this table, which has already been reclaimed by the traders of the community. You can see microphone stands from the media houses that covered the press conference. Now, I'm going to walk in a circle so you can see every single corner of the Diabene Market Square. And then the audience can tell for themselves whether indeed there is any police presence. Everywhere you look, all you see are members of the Diabene community, people who came out today to hear what the families had to say and to add their own voices to the outrage that the families are expressing about the news from the police, about the results, and of course the way the news was conveyed. But I've done a full 360 degrees, and as you can see, all we have here are civilians. No police, no authorities of the Diabene community.
Kojo Yankson, many thanks for that update, and that was my colleague Kojo Yankson at the Diabene Market Square in Takoradi, where families of the 4 girls who went missing over a year ago have been addressing a press conference, and they are disputing the results of the DNA test that the police announced yesterday, saying that it established that the girls were indeed murdered. But let's stay on this a while longer. Remember, you are watching Joy News Desk. My name is Araba Kumsin. But let's stay on this matter, which has become a topical issue. Let's get onto the phone lines and speak with the forensic expert, Dr. Richmond Afuake, from the University of Cape Coast Forensic Department, to tell us options available to the family to explore in the context of the DNA results. Good morning, and many thanks for your time, sir. Hello, good morning, Mr. Afuaka. Unfortunately, we have lost Mr. Afuaka on the line. But just to bring you up to speed on what the family members have said, as Kojo indicated earlier, they don't believe the police's account. They want an independent test, and because, as you heard one of the mothers of the girls, Ruth Love Quayson, say, they are unhappy with how the news was broken And indeed, they say, or they claim that the CID boss, Mamit Tiwa Adodankwa, actually told them that the kidnappers had demanded some monies and that they were not to disclose this to anyone. But let's go back to the lines. Dr. Richmond Afwake from the University of Cape Coast Forensic Department joins us to tell us options available to the families to explore in this matter. Many thanks for your time, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Araba.
So you must have heard the family members, even before yesterday, they were skeptical about the outcome of the DNA test. Now they are demanding an independent test be done. What do you make of all?
Yeah, Araba, thank you for having me. I think that is very fair. The family has a right to demand for an independent opinion, a second opinion for that matter. And I'm not sure anybody can take that right from the family. I mean, it's their basic right, and it's fair. Once they think that what the police did is not to the result that is coming out is not what they were expecting, they have a right to ask for a second opinion. And I think I want to make it emphatically clear that the families have a right to that.
Let me just ask, how long does it take to conduct these tests such as these?
Yeah, exactly. So now we have been educating the public on this. And I have been saying for quite some time now that the moment the bones were discovered, we all jumped on and said that DNA, and we needed DNA to finish this whole process. But it didn't start from the DNA point of view. You know, when these skeletal remains were gotten from the septic tank, the process, a series of preliminary processes had to be fulfilled before we arrived at the point of conducting DNA examination or investigation. One couldn't just jump the gun and then land on the DNA part, because that would mean, you know, you could be having a wild goose chase. For example, you could be working with the mortal remains of a very old person or even mortal remains of a male. So what the process began with was for an anthropologist, and I think we have said over and over again that it was a pathologist, but the correct term here is an anthropologist. An anthropologist to assemble the bones of all the girls, I mean the four individuals, all bones belonging to each of the individuals, and then ascertaining as part of the preliminary investigation whether the bones that have been retrieved from the septic tank were indeed bones of girls, because we were looking for girls. If they weren't bones of girls, then we eliminate the girls, because, of course, the bones of a girl is totally different from the bones of a boy. And a forensic anthropologist has the skill to be able to tell the difference between these two kinds of bones. Secondly, then you will determine the age range of the bones at the time of death. You know that the bones speak a lot. I mean, once you have the bones, you are able to tell what age range. Of course, if you have a skull and in the skull you have some lost teeth, you have very, very degraded teeth, and you can easily tell from the skull that this is the bone of a very old person. But we were looking for girls in the 18, 19, and in the early 20s. And the skull will tell you that at the point of death, these people were within this age range. All of these information will either exclude or include the girls in this examination. And before you go on to do a DNA examination, which is the more expensive and the more rigorous and more confirmatory test, you don't jump the gun and jump onto the DNA analysis. So this is why I was saying that it takes quite some time. You don't do all these in a matter of a week or two. You need to do it assiduously, taking your time and making sure that you do not make mistakes. You understand? Before you move on to the DNA. And then the DNA part, you know, we had a stall because the family members weren't willing to cooperate. After a while, they did cooperate, and then they gave out their specimens. And then the DNA also takes some time. You see, let me try and explain, Araba. The DNA process, there are various different kinds of DNA investigations you could do. Some of the routine ones are the paternity testing. Every DNA lab does this routinely. So you expect them to stock their lab with reagents for paternity testing, for example. So whenever there is a case of questioned paternity and you go to the lab, readily the reagents are there for such an analysis. But here is the case: we were going to extract DNA from bones. This is not routine. Are you there?
I am. I'm listening to you, sir.
This is not routine. So the police now will have to, and they don't have the reagents sitting on the shelves, because it would be very, as a manager, if you are managing a lab and you have to buy reagents for DNA extraction from bones, which samples you don't get in your lab routinely, that would be bad managerial practice. You understand? So the police was now going to make a request for the lab to be furnished with the correct reagents for this kind of DNA extraction. The police couldn't use the reagents for, say, extracting DNA from buccal swabs or even from common skin samples for this kind of work. So they needed some time. And that is why I kept saying that the 4-week period we had given the police was unnecessary. It was going to give them a lot of pressure, and that if we weren't careful, we would mount so much pressure on them and they will make mistakes. So I'm very happy the police didn't work under pressure, and they have come out with the results in their own time. I'm sure that the sensitivity of this case put all of us in a lot of uncomfortable situations, and then we wanted the results to come out as quickly as possible. But here we are, now we have the results.
Right, of course. I mean, the pressure on the police was not unexpected. But
of course.
As you indicated, it takes a while. But I just want to understand, does it take 2 months? Does it take 3 months? Especially now that the family has expressed skepticism about, or is casting doubt on the outcome of the DNA test, and they're demanding an independent test. How long will it take for an independent test to be conducted?
I don't know which lab is going to do the next analysis. You understand? I don't know how equipped that lab is. Usually, you could do the preliminary DNA extraction and polymerase chain reaction in your lab, and when it comes to the sequencing, most private labs will take the samples out of the country to do the sequencing, or they may even fall again on the police for the police to do the sequencing for them, because there are very few organizations within the country who have the genetic analyzer to do that, including the police.
Sure, but give us a time frame. Within what time frame can this be done?
But I can't give you a time frame, you understand, because the lab will have to optimize the process. And it depends on the process of optimization.
Okay.
Somebody can do this in 4 weeks. Another lab with a different set of equipment could do it in 2 weeks.
Okay.
A different lab with a different set of equipment could do it in 3 weeks. And it depends on the process.
Very well.
If they want to do sequencing, if they want to do restriction, fragment length, polymorphism, it depends on the process they want to do.
Very well.
It can take time.
Let's talk about cost, because you mentioned that earlier, that it's not cheap. It doesn't come cheap. So we do know that there have been calls by some, well-meaning people as well as NGOs saying that the public should donate and raise funds for, the family to undertake this independent test. How much does it cost to undertake, a DNA test like this?
A DNA test like what we have, I won't be able to tell how much it will cost offhand. I have, in my lab, I have not procured the reagents for it. I will only be able to tell you the cost if I have procured some reagents to do this. Right. And I'm able to tell exactly how much it costs. But routinely, a routine DNA analysis, depending on, for example, a paternity test would cost between 2,000 and 3,000 Ghana cedis. others for diagnostic purposes could cost as much as 10,000 cedis. And so it depends on the kind of DNA investigation you are doing.
Very well. I'm so grateful for your time. That's
yeah, Dr. but Araba, if you have a minute, I want to make this point clear.
Okay.
We have to, as a country, interrogate a lot of things that have gone on since this case began. You understand? We will have to interrogate the work of the police from the day this news broke till now, and learn a lot of lessons from them. We will have to move from the point of sensationalism to the point of national development, where we want to see a more professional police service, which will act more professionally. So we need to ask ourselves a lot of questions. We need to find very good answers for these questions. For example, the team that went to the scene, we have been blaming the team for the kind of work the shoddy work they did at the crime scene. But the question we need to ask ourselves genuinely is that, did the team have the competence and the skill to do the kind of work we were asking them to do? Did they have the tools to do the kind of work we were asking them to do? After we answer these questions, that is when we can find solutions to the problems. Like it or not, the police is faced with a lot of problems. And government will have to now begin to resource the police and position them to be able to solve such cases.
Very well said.
Sure.
Dr. Richmond Afuakwa, we need to ask a lot of questions. I agree with you on that. But many thanks for joining us this morning. Let's stay a while longer on this, because former CID boss Bright Odro has questioned the police's failure to conduct a physical identification of some items found at the place where the girls were suspected to have been held. Mr. Odro believes this inaction by the police, among others, casts doubt on aspects of investigations conducted so far. He spoke on the AM show this morning.
Always believe that the investigation should have been open, especially when the remains were found, because while we have found skeletal remains of some people unknown. If they were the girls, we need to find out who killed them. If they were not the girls, we need to establish the identity of those skeletal remains. So in either way, you need to conduct investigation, because they have been found dead and in a manhole. I don't know whether the police have started investigating the murder, or all along they have been looking at kidnapping. Now it's murder, because they have been found dead. And I don't know whether they have started investigating this murder aspect. And I think it should have started at the time the remains were found. Who killed them? Why were they dumped there? When were they killed? And what was the motive behind the killing? So all these questions need to be answered. DNA testing, I mean, you and I don't know how it is done. And the family may not appreciate how it is done, whether the results are conclusive enough or not. They don't know. And so if they say they will challenge, I think it is in the right direction. They can have their own sample, they can have samples, and then maybe do further testing elsewhere. But, you see, I have said somewhere that there are some forms of identification that can be done at any time. These remains were found, the skeletal remains were found. We had the skull indicating the denture of all these girls. Then we also had, I think, the hair beak or whatever, the 3 girls. They were also found. And then some waist beads were also found. Not only the skeletal remains. And so I have said, and I have indicated to some officers, police officers, that there was a need for probably physical identification first. And this physical identification can only be done by the family of the girls. If you get them involved in that physical identification, of course, it will be, I think, traumatic for them to come and identify in the first place. But they need to be taken through some protocol and be emboldened enough to come out and then see whether those items that were found indeed belong to the girls. As for the 4th one, there were, I think, dresses. We have heard that those dresses belong to that girl, Abeka or something. So this physical identification I was talking about, I think should have been done early enough, and the family would have now been well aware that, oh, these girls our girls. These girls are not our girls. Because I'm sure if you look at the teeth, the denture, somebody who knows any of them will be able to tell whether the teeth belong to this or not. Somebody who knows them will be able to identify the hairstyle or the hair that was found alongside the skeletal remains and the waist beads as well. So that should have been done. And I talked to some people that this has to be done. Physical identification, making them involved in identification of them initially, and then the DNA will add finality to the, the identification. And if they had come out to say, oh, these beads that we found belong to our girl, this hair is that of our girl and all that, and they will not maybe dispute the DNA testing.
So that is a former CID boss, Bright Odro, there, again reiterating the point that more questions remain unanswered. We will be giving you more on this on our midday news bulletin. But right now, let's move on to other stories. And